The sun rose over the plains of Kushinagar, softening the horizon with a gentle glow. Birds took flight, their wings slicing through the morning air as if heralding a day of profound significance. In the heart of the city, the air was thick with anticipation, yet tinged with an inexplicable sorrow. Word had spread like wildfire. The Blessed One, Siddhartha Gautama, the Tathagata, was nearing the end of his earthly journey. Even the trees seemed to lean closer, their leaves whispering in the breeze, as though eager to witness the final teachings of the Enlightened One. Siddhartha, now 80 years old, moved with a grace that belied his frail frame. His face carried the serenity of one who had walked through the storms of existence and had emerged unshaken. His robes, once vibrant, were now faded with time, yet the light in his eyes remained unextinguished. The monks who surrounded him walked quietly, mindful of the sanctity of this passage. They were aware that history was poised to bow before the final chapter of a life that had changed the world. Kushinagar, a city alive with the hum of trade and devotion, had become a sanctuary. The streets were lined with followers and villagers, each carrying offerings of flowers, fruits, and incense. The air was fragrant with devotion, a tapestry of scents mingling into something almost celestial. Mothers held their children close, and elders bowed as the Tathagata passed. There was an unspoken understanding that these last days were unlike any other. They were witnessing not merely a man, but the embodiment of wisdom, compassion, and the ultimate freedom from suffering. Siddhartha stopped beneath the shade of a sala tree, its branches spreading wide, offering both shelter and dignity. He lowered himself gently onto a mat, his movements deliberate, almost meditative. The monks gathered around him, forming a circle of devotion, and awaited his words. His breaths were calm, rhythmic, like waves caressing the shore, each exhalation carrying the weight of a lifetime of insight. "My friends," Siddhartha began, his voice soft yet resonant, carrying the authority of one who has seen the depths of existence, "all compounded things are subject to decay. Strive on with diligence. Work out your salvation with diligence. This is my final exhortation." The words, though simple, carried a depth that could pierce through the veils of attachment and desire. The monks listened intently, aware that each syllable was a key to the understanding of life and death. Siddhartha's teachings, long shared with the world, now assumed a luminous clarity in the shadow of his approaching parinirvana. In the days that followed, Siddhartha's condition grew more fragile, yet his mind remained unwavering. He continued his journey with a serene awareness, moving from place to place, sharing his final teachings. One day he spoke of mindfulness. "Be a lamp unto yourselves. Be your own refuge. Seek no external savior. Diligence, mindfulness, and wisdom are the paths to liberation. Guard your mind, for it is the source of both suffering and peace." He spoke of compassion, emphasizing its universality. Just as a mother protects her only child with her life, cultivate boundless love for all beings. Let your heart be free from hatred. Extend kindness without discrimination. This too is the path to freedom. Even as his body weakened, Siddhartha's spirit shone with unyielding clarity. He ate sparingly, taking only what was necessary, as if demonstrating that attachment to even the simplest comforts could be relinquished. His disciples, both monks and lay followers, were tireless in their care, yet they understood that their efforts were not to prevent the inevitable, but to honor the dignity of a life lived in enlightenment. One afternoon, Siddhartha requested to be taken to the grove where he had once rested in meditation under the shade of sala trees. The monks carried him carefully, their steps slow, as if even the earth itself wished to proceed with reverence. The grove was alive with the sounds of nature, birdsong, rustling leaves, and the distant murmur of a river. Siddhartha's eyes sparkled as he looked upon the trees, the flowers, the flowing water, all expressions of impermanence yet imbued with beauty. "Life is transient," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Every form, every being, every feeling will pass. Recognize this truth and suffering will diminish. Do not cling to what cannot remain, for clinging brings sorrow." The monks meditated on his words, letting them sink deep into the fabric of their consciousness. Each phrase was a jewel, a distilled essence of his lifelong pursuit of truth. Siddhartha's teachings were now like a river, flowing freely, washing away illusions, leaving only clarity. During these final days, Siddhartha was visited by many. Kings, merchants, and wandering ascetics came to pay their respects. Yet, despite the grandeur of visitors, it was the ordinary souls, the farmers, the children, the sick and the poor, who drew the most profound connection from his presence. Siddhartha never distinguished between them. To him, all beings were equal in their suffering and in their potential for awakening. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Siddhartha spoke to his disciples about the nature of the body and death. "All conditioned things must dissolve. Strive diligently. Do not grieve, for I am free from attachment. Death is but a passage, a shedding of what is impermanent. Be mindful, and you shall see that nothing is lost. What has been practiced and realized continues beyond form." His words were not mere consolation, but a revelation, a guide to understanding the inevitability of change without clinging. The monks, though saddened, felt a deep gratitude, as if a lamp had been placed within their hearts, illuminating the path ahead. As days turned into nights, Siddhartha grew weaker. His breaths became shallower, his movements slower. Yet even in his frailty, he maintained his composure, walking the path of mindfulness with unwavering grace. The monks watched over him with devotion, ensuring that he was comfortable and surrounded by peace. One morning, Siddhartha requested his favorite meal, a simple dish of rice and mangoes. He ate slowly, savoring each bite, as if imparting a final lesson in the art of awareness. Once he had finished, he addressed the monks one last time. "Be vigilant. Hold fast to the Dhamma. Let the teachings be your guide when I am no longer present. Let your practice be your refuge. Remember, all compounded things are impermanent. Strive diligently and liberation will be attained." A hush fell over the grove. The disciples sensed that the final hour was near. Siddhartha lay down between two sala trees, a position he had chosen long before, prepared for the great transition. His breathing slowed further, yet his mind remained luminous, radiant with clarity and peace. The earth seemed to respond to his presence. The wind whispered gently through the trees, the flowers swayed as if in a silent farewell, and the river's murmur seemed to harmonize with the cadence of his breaths. The monks, gathered in deep meditation, intuited that the Tathagata's journey into parinirvana was imminent. Siddhartha's gaze softened as he observed the faces of his devoted disciples. There was no fear, no longing, no attachment, only a serene acknowledgement of life's impermanence and the liberation that awaited beyond the physical form. He recalled the countless beings he had encountered, the suffering he had alleviated, and the wisdom he had imparted. A gentle smile played upon his lips. With each breath, the body weakened further, yet the mind remained steady. Siddhartha's last instructions were simple and profound. Work out your own salvation. Be your own refuge. Strive diligently. Let go of attachment. Let go of desire. Cultivate mindfulness and compassion. This is the path to freedom. As the sun reached its zenith, a golden light enveloped the grove. Siddhartha Gautama, the enlightened one, breathed his last. The Tathagata had passed into parinirvana, leaving the physical world but entering a state beyond suffering, beyond form, beyond the cycle of birth and death. The monks and disciples were struck with a mix of grief and awe. Though sorrow touched their hearts, they understood that Siddhartha's liberation was not an end, but a continuation, a transformation beyond the confines of the material world. They bowed deeply, offering flowers, incense, and prayers. The grove became a sacred space, a living testament to a life that had illuminated the path for countless beings. News of his parinirvana spread throughout Kushinagar and beyond. Kings, merchants, wandering ascetics, and ordinary villagers mourned, yet they also celebrated. They spoke of his teachings, of the compassion he embodied, and the wisdom he had shared. Even as the physical presence of the Tathagata faded, his influence remained indelible, like a river carving its course through the land, shaping the lives of all who encountered its waters. The monks took responsibility for preserving the teachings. They compiled the Dhamma, recalling every sermon, every parable, every moment of guidance. They became the living torchbearers of Siddhartha's vision, ensuring that the wisdom of the Tathagata would endure through the ages. In the years that followed, countless pilgrims traveled to Kushinagar to pay homage at the site of his passing. The grove of sala trees became a sanctuary of reflection and devotion. The story of Siddhartha Gautama, the prince who renounced the world, the seeker who attained enlightenment, the teacher who transcended suffering, was passed from generation to generation. His life became a beacon, illuminating the path for those who sought liberation, for those who wished to understand the nature of existence and the power of compassion. Siddhartha's final days were a testament to the essence of the teachings he had lived and shared. They were a living example of impermanence, mindfulness, compassion, and liberation. His journey from birth to enlightenment, from suffering to awakening, culminated in a moment of profound serenity, a reminder that the ultimate freedom lies within, awaiting only recognition and diligent practice. Even now, centuries later, the story of the last days of Siddhartha Gautama continues to inspire. His life, his teachings, and his parinirvana are not merely historical events, but enduring truths, guiding seekers on their own journey toward awakening. The Tathagata's message transcends time. All compounded things are impermanent, suffering can be overcome, and liberation is attainable through mindfulness, wisdom, and compassion. The sala trees still stand in Kusinara, their branches reaching skyward as if in silent homage to the Enlightened One. The river continues to flow, the wind continues to whisper, and the earth continues to bear witness. Siddhartha Gautama may have passed from this world, but his light endures, illuminating the hearts of all who seek the path to awakening, reminding us that the last days of a great life are never truly an end. They are a guide, a beacon, and a call to realization. And thus, the last days of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, became the eternal testament of enlightenment, a life fully lived, a truth fully realized, and a compassion fully shared. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this.